Oh, I did bring us a new microphone today. And some new headphones. This is Friday, August the something? 25th? 24th? 25th? This is a Cascade M20. Cascade is a company that kind of special, they're a small manufacturing company. And this, by its symbol there, means it's cartoid. The pattern is cartoid. It's a medium to large diaphragm microphone. And if you look, you can see the diaphragm in there. It is a condenser, so it requires phantom power. It front faces as opposed to end faces. So, I think it's, I don't want to say as good, but darn near as good as the AKG 414, which I think is a really your best mic for the $1,200 range. This is nowhere near that. Actually, they were given to me, but I just have one now. When I bought the AKG 414s, these were given to me by Sweetwater just as part of this promotion or something. So these are 15 years ago. So the difference is it doesn't have a adjustable pattern. It's just cartoid, okay? And it has a -10 switch, which would mean you're taking in -10 dB less amplitude. It also has a drop off, a cutoff to, I think it's 100, but it might be 200. Mainly, we don't need to deal with that so much. This is not exactly the greatest shock mount ever made, but it's acceptable. It just sits down in there and it kind of scrapes up the mic, as you can see. Let's go ahead and set this up for just maybe we'll get a chance to use it today. Today, what I would like to do is focus on what Pro Tools looks like and give just a very brief explanation about what you're looking at in the various windows. Okay, looking good. We probably should label these things, but not yet. I have some materials on compression, always a big topic. We'll look at those on Monday, or Wednesday, rather. Okay, what's the first thing to know about microphone stands is they're junk. And they will hurt you if you're not careful. Somebody needs to log in. Okay. So, number one, as in many things in life, don't hurt yourself or hurt anybody else or anything when you're using the microphone stands. Okay, we can go ahead and turn those on, I guess. Normally I wait till after Pro Tools is all gone, but it's fine. Go ahead. It's fine. You do definitely need to wait till after you boot up everything, though, because it tends to have a thump. And also, if you're going to shut it down turn off the speakers first because it'll give it just the worst kind of. What was that? That was like a. Okay, here is our microphone wire. It's all, that's an okay. I'm going to try to get rid of that prompt. But now our cinches on our mic wires they're just the worst thing ever. You kind of only know one person who's any good at them, and it's not me. I don't know what the problem is with them. Sort of have to twisty them. So I instituted this policy a few years ago that all of our cinches would be the exact same cinch, so that when we were setting up and breaking down, we weren't having to keep track of the different cinches. Maybe should have gotten a better cinch is the thing. I mean, you could cinch a fire hose with this. I mean, not that many of our wires need that. Okay, when using this microphone particularly, you've got to make sure it clicks, okay? It's got to go click. Hasn't gone click yet. Like the other end. There, did you hear it? Now I got the microphone in the picture frame. Okay, so who are we missing? Frederick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Frederick and Tyler makes 8. Adrian is not here. All right, why don't you name us a file for today? And you can even name it your project if you want to, or you can just give it any kind of name. Okay? And then I'll use that file for us to look at some of the things in Pro Tools, and then maybe later start seeing how we can make multi-track sync recordings. To that end, let's check the time of day. All right, what you doing?
Neighborhood date.
That'll do. Okay, let me sit there now, and it would be better if you could see the screen. All right, one thing about the screen is it can look a lot of different ways, and some of them are kind of like, now you see this arrow right here on the edge? This is a really important arrow, and it totally confused me the other day. All of this tells you what is going to be visible across this bar here. One says transport. That's this right here. Okay? This is the transport. And that analog to a tape recorder is play and record and reverse and all of that. Now what we've left out, that we have our output meters. The thing at the top, okay, this is expanded transport is clicked. If I take that off, all of that stuff above that is gone now. Do you see that? How that left? I'll put it back, and this time we'll look at what it did look like. Now what does this mean right here? Well, this right here tells you a lot of the same things that this right here tells you. But this pre-roll and post-roll and fade-in have to do with starting and stopping and punching in your recording. So you may or may not need that. But what we do need is at the top called zoom controls. Now, do you see where this came right here? You see this? These make our material expand and contract, just like I was commanding and scrolling here the other day. But this is the important one here. That makes the WAV file look bigger or smaller. It doesn't change the WAV file, but it changes the way you use it. And this does the same thing, MIDI zoom in, and this is audio zoom in. Now this here is where you snap to. Now we have slip, which means you can move your material all the way around, back and forth, or grid, where it snaps to what your grid is set to. And this project's grid is set to 1 second. You can also change it to the tempo of the piece you're working on and make things snap to beat 1, beat 2, whatever your meter is there. And that's changed by just clicking the arrow next to the grid. Now you have a chance of seconds all the way down to 1 millisecond. But the other thing here is you can do it as bars and beats, minutes, seconds, time code, which has to do with film, feet and frames film. Samples is the number, your sampling rate. So we're gridding to 44,100 samples per second, or clips and markers. So I usually work on a time scale, but if you're working on rhythmic music, you could use bars and beats. And probably a second is too little. Now the other thing is the nudge. By forming the nudge command, it takes your highlighted wave material and will go forward or backwards that amount. And this one is set to 100 samples. That makes no sense. This is going to be, we could set it to 1 second, half a second, 10th second, 1000th second. Or wait, 1 millisecond, 10 milliseconds, 100 milliseconds, 500 milliseconds, 1 second. Okay, I'm going to have to go over this again. But let's now get ourselves some audio to work with. And let's see what we want to do here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is go to Track, New, and I'm going to create 2 mono audio tracks. Create. There's audio 1 and audio 2. If I double click that, I can rename that to something else like vocal 1. And I can move to the next one and I could name that vocal 2. If that's what I was doing. Now what else do I want to add here, kind of just like a template for what I would normally work on? Definitely have a master fader, but I would also have at least 1 aux track. So let's add a stereo auxiliary track by New, 1, Stereo, click to aux input and create. And I can double click that and I can name it reverb that's what I'm going to put there. And of course, I always want a master so I can see the total amplitude that's coming out of all the tracks. And that must be a master fader, not anything else. You won't get sound if you do something different. Okay, now I'm gonna do something else, and that is let's make this in time instead of minutes and seconds. Let's make it in 4/4. Okay, so what it defaults to is 4/4, and the tempo it defaults to is 120. I'm going to click on this add tempo change, and I'm going to change it to 84. And it says BPMs, and the resolution is a quarter note. Now you can change all that. It's important that you know where your location is. I'm on the first beat of the first bar, and essentially that's 0. Because in music, there is no 0. There's just the first beat of the first bar. In time, there is 0. Okay, so I'm going to do 84 beats a minute, and I'm going to change my grid to bars and beats, and it's set to 16th notes for the grid. Now I want to add one thing else, and this is new for you, and I'm going to put it under the reverb. I'll put it over the master, a new track, new, and it's going to be mono, and it's going to be instrument track, okay? Everybody see that? Create. Actually, this one's backwards the way I wanted it to. I always try to keep my master on the bottom, but as you can see, you can just switch them back and forth. Now I'm going to use Control equals to give me the MIDI editor. That's not what I wanted. Command equals will give us our mixer. My bad. Control equals will give you your MIDI editor, if you were wondering. Now, why did I put that instrument in there? Because I want to make a click, okay, an actual click. So I'm going to insert a plug-in, and we're going to go down to Instrument, and we're going to go to, guess what? Click! That's right. Now, it automatically sets to the whatever I've made Pro Tools be. A lot of my music kind of goes like that initially. Okay. Now, so the next thing would be to, like, there's several ways you can record in a multi-track situation here. One way you can put down a track that's what you call your scratch track, and you can play along with it. So you make your scratch track. So what could I have as a scratch track if I wanted someone to sing along with it? I could actually play in a piano part or something. So I'm going to insert after vocal 1 another track, And it's also, this one's going to be a stereo. It's also going to be an instrument track. And on this instrument track, I am going to insert a multi-channel plug-in, go to instrument, and I'm going to go to mini grand. Okay? And it should, oh man, I don't have my MIDI thing. Darn. Oh, that's going to be hard to click in time, isn't it? Well, we'll bring that next time. We'll give it a try. Okay, I'm going to record my instrument too. Now, unless you enable the track, if it's not enabled, never mind. Wasn't supposed to work. So now part of our options is if I do this and I hit play, we should be recording. But the thing is, we might not be, because we might be counting off. Let's see what happens. It's straight on recording, isn't it? Now what if I don't like what I record? Control Z is a wonderful option on both Windows and Macintosh. Undo. Okay, so we're not having a count off. Now here under options, I like my edit window to move along. So I'm going to scroll after every page. So it's going to update to where I'm moving across. That can be quite disconcerting. So since I don't have any count-offs here, I can't actually remember how to make that count off, but I could figure it out at another time. So I'm going to let it beat for one measure and then start in with my scratch track. I thought that was quite nice. Let's see what it sounds like on the playback. Really good. What was the problem? Did I not arm the track? I bet that was it. And we're paying $200 an hour in this studio, and you can't click the button. That's right, I can't click the button. Let's just make sure we're going to record something. I don't see any information there.
You like that track muted right there?
Huh?
You like that the track at the bottom is muted?
No, I muted the click.
Oh.
Maybe this isn't sending a MIDI signal. That's the problem, isn't it? Son of a gun. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to save this and quit it, and I'm going to go get the MIDI doohickey, and we're going to proceed. Okay? I won't be long. Okay, do we know what MIDI stands for? Musical Instrument Digital Interface. And it was a system put together back in the 20th century for a way for keyboards to talk to each other. And it evolved into more, talking keyboards to computers, etc., etc. Now, why did I close Pro Tools? I'll tell you. So that it would recognize the MIDI instrument when it boots up. It's just easier that way. And it maybe won't give us the prompt. See, no prompt. Now, instead of create, I'm going to go to recent and just go to your project. Okay. Now, we're gonna, now if I go back to here, click on the mini grand, now I need to arm it. Okay, so we're all good now. See, does anybody, let's just make sure we all know what happened. When I was like clicking on the keys, it wasn't sending any MIDI signal. It wasn't sending, so when I'm recording this, I'm not recording this piano. I'm recording note options from 0 to 127. Like every aspect of MIDI is rated from 0 to 127, 128 choices. So your knob is going like that, all your knobs, all your buttons, your touch, stuff like that. So it records the MIDI information and then plays it through this instrument that is playing samples of a real piano. All right, so, oh my gosh, let's see if we can get this going for real, for real. Okay, so I'm going to now add myself another track that's also going to be a stereo instrument track, and I'm going to create that. It's down here. I'm going to also stick in, I could do something else, but I'll do the DB33. No, I went to the same thing again. Okay, so this is kind of a Hammond's kind of thingy, the bobber. Okay, so I'm gonna have my click track again. This time my instrument 2 is gonna play, and I'm gonna, the piano is gonna play, and the instrument 3 is also gonna play when I play it. Okay? I hope. So I've armed and so. Had an unfortunate missing. I'm sorry. I didn't plan it that way. Okay, so let's hear that together without the clickety clacks. I don't like that note, so I'm going to change it. So I'm changing this from clips to notes. Now looky here, I'm going to change my scale to jumbo so I can see my notes. Now I'm going to zoom in on the MIDI notes there and find out where that unfortunate... So here's the notes. They might be out of sync now. Oh Lord! That was cheesy, man. Okay, so these boys are no longer lined up. Something went very wrong there. Delete, delete. Okay. Do you want to be vocalist number 1?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your service. Okay, come on over and just make, why don't we, here's the thing about working in a recording studio. You really have to make the artist feel like everything's fine. So what I need to do is give the artist some headphones so that we don't have no feedback, okay?
Right.
So I'm gonna, okay, unlike the nautical world, red is right and blue is left. So, and the L stands for left too. Okay, there's your headphones. I'm gonna plug her in to that and adjust her headphones, turn down that. Now, all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna record vocal 1. I'm gonna have the first instrument play also, and I'm gonna mute everything else, all right? So just give me there's going to be, oh, I muted the click track. So you're going to have 4 beats click, and then just sing la or whatever you want to with the one track, all right? Ready? Mm-hmm. So all you're getting is 4 beats, and we're off.
La la. Am I singing the same thing as that?
If you want to.
Okay, that's fine.
Something like la 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 la.
Mm-hmm.
I'm singing a third above that. You just match the pitch.
Okay.
Okay? You want to hear it once first so you get your pitch?
Sure.
Okay. Got it?
Okay.
And then you want to be graded on this.
Okay. La 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 la.
Okay, that was nice. I'm going to mute that, and now we're going to record the other track.
Mm-hmm.
Was that me out there? Okay, you want to hear the pitch? It's about to come. So you're up a third, and it gets a little weird after that, so you can just improvise that. It got a little weird there, didn't it?
Okay, yeah, it stopped.
Can you handle it?
La, la. Is that where it is?
Just start on this.
Okay.
Any old thing will do, really. You were hearing the organ, right? Okay. And we are recording. Somebody's being really loud in the studio.
La 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 la. I didn't know what I had to do that.
That's okay. We'll fix it in post-production. So now we're going to mute all that stuff. But before we do that, you can take your headphones off. I'm wrong one. We're going to put our reverb in.
Am I done?
Yes, you may see it. Thank you. Now let's just hear it dry. All right, let's hear it dry first. That's good, isn't it? Oh, you know, maybe then. Something went wrong. I got input. Let's see if we got any waveforms. Oh, doesn't look like it. What went wrong there? Oh, man. Okay. We got a few more minutes. We're going to make this work. Oh!
Final power.
Fan power! Ah!
Dang.
Feedback! Okay, I'm really sorry about that. Okay, your turn.
Okay.
Okay, you want to do the first one first?
Sure.
Here's your,
Am I supposed to hear you do this?
no,
Okay, because I can. And myself.
I'm just giving your pitch. Okay, that was the first track.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Man, 4 beats.
Mm-hmm. La 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 la. Great.
Oh, we did get one little peak there though, didn't we? That's okay. Oh man, our levels are like super high. Let's do that again. First, let's check our levels. Sing a little bit for us.
Sing a little bit.
Go ahead. Just sing your song, and I'll check.
La 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 la.
Okay, we have excellent levels now. All right, we're recording.
La 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 la.
Great. Okay, now we're gonna do the other one. And the thing we have to do, I'm about to make yet another mistake here, is change this one to input 1 so we don't have to unplug this. Okay? Boy, I hope you've learned a lot today. Many things you don't want to repeat. Here is your pitch. Okay? You good?
Mm-hmm. La 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 la.
I think we all good now. All right, you may sit down. It's good. Thank you. Okay, with the option button, I can click the mute and mute everybody. And now I'm going to take off the mutes on those 2 things. Now we're just going to hear Olivia sing without any reverb, without any instruments.
La 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 la.
All right, good job. Now, we're about out of time, so we'll use this as material later. Brandon, you're welcome to sing for us. You're welcome to play your instruments for us. And I think it would be fun if we had Brian could, with or without click, you could do a couple improvs with 2 tracks. Would you like to do that?
Yeah.
That would be fun. Just to practice, this is kind of one of your more basic things, to get a click, to get material down. It can go even worse than it did today, so keep that in mind. It gets even worse. But what you gotta ask yourself is, what did you expect that was gonna happen? Nothing good. Now, one last thing with our 2 minutes left. This will be fun. Like right here, right here we have Olivia. What if I take that right there? Well, I gotta do this differently. I need to take this tool here and take the part that she was singing. Okay, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to move it down here. La, la. What if I moved it down a major third? Going to go to my audio suite. Going to go to pitch shift. There should be another one here. Well, we'll do this. Okay, so